Thank you very much to the Gordon Head Residents Association for putting on this event and for all of you attending. My name is Colin Plant. I'm a first-time candidate for Saanich Council, and I'd also like to be a new director at the CRD. Every organization needs an influx of new ideas and new voices from time to time to stay relevant. I believe Saanich Council is at this juncture in the fall of 2014, and we're going to set the tone for the next 4 years. I've been knocking on a lot of doors. Since the middle of August, I'm now at about 5,800 doors, and I've knocked on many doors in Gordon Head. And I too am hearing about the fact that Saanich residents do not feel they're being listened to. So rather than complain about it, I've decided to put my name forward. My campaign is in my brochure. I'm not just new. I'm not just saying vote for me because I'm new and I've changed. I will change, excuse me. I have a vision for how I'd like to see Saanich become, and to address all 10 of those items now would be ridiculous. It's just not possible. But I will say this, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to work with anybody here. I like all of the people in front of you. I promise to work on your behalf with them. And I promise to answer my phone when you call, and I promise to return your email within 24 hours. On November 15th, put this plant and plant him into Saanich Council, please.
Okay. How will you ensure that Council makes climate change the highest level filter for determining the appropriateness of every Council decision?
Great question. I really did get the bingo, didn't I? Thank you for the question, whoever asked it. I think there's some real pragmatic things you can actually do. Every proposal has a checklist, and if it meets certain criteria, then they get an awarding of points. And if those points add up to a reasonable level, then it can be considered to go through. When we look at the climate change issue, as Mr. Dermott has said, it is the thing on the horizon. Although we look around in our community, it seems like, well, it's not really happening here. But of course it is. We just have to look at the crazy weather we've had in the last few years. How do you make every decision? You have principled people who look at it through a lens of the environment and climate change. Don't clap, you're not allowed during the time. It cuts into my time. And I mean that politely and friendly. You have to, as Vic said, have people who walk the walk and talk the talk. If you think that it's been being addressed in the last 3 years, then vote those people back in. If you don't feel it's been addressed, then perhaps it's time for some new voices. I promise to do this, to listen to people, study the science, and then make decisions that are transparent and based on science, not just pseudoscience. So thank you for whoever asked that question.
Next name.
Your question is, your second question is, do you support some form of amalgamation of all municipalities in Greater Victoria area?
The honest answer is, I'm not entirely sure. That's the honest answer. I sit here in front of you, or stand here rather, and I think, of course it makes sense. There's just too many. And when I think about Saanich, however, and I'm running for Saanich Council in the CRD, there's a duality, because for Saanich, I'm not sure it's the best thing in the world. I certainly could look to the north and think the 3 peninsula municipalities would be well served to be put together. But we already are the large municipality in the region. The world needs more Saanich, to be perfectly honest. We don't need more Victoria. The question that was put out in front of council, unfortunately, wasn't strong enough. It wasn't clear enough. The council could have had the question that would have then seen a study, which also could have included consultation. So do I believe in amalgamation? If the people want it, I think we as councillors are bound to listen to that. Do I think that Saanich needs to be amalgamated? I'm not sure we would benefit from that, to be perfectly honest. So I promise to listen, I promise to come to the communities, and I promise to have input with citizens on how we can make Saanich the greatest. And if that's with other municipalities, then so be it. But let's not just say it's automatically going to be good without studying it first. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Colin.
Thanks again to the Gordon Head Residents Association for putting this evening on and for everybody who's here, especially the people who have been standing the whole time in the back. I really appreciate the fact that you're so committed to your community and are showing up. My favorite quote in life is, "Nothing great is ever achieved without enthusiasm." It's how I live my life, it's how I teach my students up at Claremont Secondary, and it's how I would approach being a counselor in Saanich. We live in an awesome community. It may be the best place in Canada, but I want to work even harder to make it even better. I have some ideas that you're welcome to check out on my website, but a couple of them that I just want to mention to you tonight are the idea of connecting with residents. Two words that tonight haven't been said: youth and seniors. Those are two important groups that I really care about. I'm moving into that part of my life where I am in that sandwich generation. My parents are going to need support, and I want them to maybe live with me in a house, in a legal suite, so we can share, so that they can stay in our community, so they don't have to go to a home. But I also want the youth in our community to feel that they should be here. I forced my son to come tonight. He's the only one, I think, here under 16 years of age. And I'm sorry that I forced him to come. But I wanted him to see what's going on in our community. Yes, he's sitting over there. He's the only one under the age of 20. But in a serious note, we have to go to the youth. The notion that they are going to come to us is wrong. They're not. So what would I do? It's what I always do. I listen to people. I approach them with humility. I listen with respect, and I ask for other people's opinions before I give mine. Please, grow Saanich with this plant, November 15th.